Okay, we're live. Let me know if you guys can hear me okay. Give it a second, make sure if anybody could give me a thumbs up. Trying a different setting this time. All right. I'm assuming you guys can hear me. I see a little green thing next to the microphone. So we're going live again. Yes, sweet. Thanks, Chris. Sorry to hear about your bike crash, man. I hope you're doing okay. I believe it's the same Chris that had a little fender bender with a vehicle. Hope you're doing okay, man. All right, awesome. Let's get started. So yeah, we hit. Actually, we didn't even quite hit 30,000 subscribers yet. We're at like 29.9. So this is a little premature. This is the equivalent of George Bush's mission accomplished. So this is my own version of that. Just wanted to say thanks, guys, obviously, for doing that. I can't believe there's 30,000 people that are interested in stuff that I'm interested in. So that's really cool. So yeah, I just want to do a quick recap and I'll do a quick spiel and then we'll get right into it. I'll start answering your questions and do some conversating. 2021 was a great year. We started selling online. By we, I mean me, the royal we. Started selling online, which was a challenge and really awesome in itself. Started doing consultations where if you have help, if you need e-bike repair help, you need help ordering whatever, you want to outfit your bike and you're not sure how to do it, I started offering consultations and e-bike repair, virtual e-bike repair. That was awesome. That was with the help of my wife. She set that all up and everything. So that was, that's her to thank. Me and my friend Sean we're going to be launching an e-bike brand, which I'm super excited for. And we made a prototype, version 1. We need to do some tweaking to it. Hopefully this spring we'll have version 2 out. And the goal is to sell at least one bike this year, in this calendar year, 2022. As you know, designing, getting bikes ready for production takes a long time, but hopefully because we're a small crew, we can do it faster. Also, I gave birth. Personally, I gave birth to my first child with the help of my wife. So that's definitely taking a lot of time, but it's been awesome. For any of you fathers and mothers out there, you guys know what that's all about. So she's 2 months old now. So haven't been doing a lot of bike stuff, been doing a lot of baby stuff. But yeah, so like I said, I do offer consultations. If any of you guys have questions that I don't answer here, feel free. You can book a consultation online, johnnynerdout.com. Love talking with you guys. I already did a few this morning with some of you guys. That was fun. And yeah, love talking e-bikes. Okay. Probably forgot some stuff. I'm going to do a preamble. What did I just say? See, this is the problem with going live. You can't edit. If you say something stupid, you can't edit it out. That's what sucks. Okay. Let's go. Okay, Chris, you've got a Dolomite ALX on the way. Got any front gear ideas for steep hill climbing? Go small. My personal favorite, obviously you're going to have to go with the BBS HD, the 120 millimeter. The 100 millimeter won't fit that one. I really like the 36 tooth from Lucky. That is my favorite chain ring to go with. Gives you awesome hill climbing. Doesn't rob you of top speed all that much. I've still hit 35 miles an hour on a 36 tooth up front, but it really changes that power band from the high end to a more usable across like the whole spectrum. But you're able to use it on that low end, especially if you're hill climbing. Go with the 36 bling ring from Lucky. That one should take care of it. Trying to remember, if it doesn't, you may have to go with the 42. I'm trying to remember offhand if the 36 works, but it should. So that should take care of you there. Sorry, it's freezing in this garage. I'm not like scared. I'm just cold, just a little chilly. Let's see. Chris, yeah, you got Yeah, rim brakes. If you got rim brakes, you definitely got to make sure, if you're interested, check out my video on rim brakes. You want to make sure that they are definitely in good working order. Um, just by rim brakes versus disc brakes, they're not all created the same. Some rim brakes actually do work better than some disc brakes. That being said, the majority of disc brakes are better than the majority of rim brakes. I would go out on a limb to say. Some of you guys may fight me on that, but I would say the hierarchy goes rim brakes, disc brakes, and then hydraulic disc brakes. Generally the top, and then there's subcategories from there. There's dual piston, quad piston, all that. It's all how much you want to spend on your bike, But definitely, if you want the best of the best, hydraulic disc brakes for sure. Thanks, America. Thank you. Thanks, guys. I appreciate that. It's going to be, I still hope to be able to put out videos, like regularly and still be able to build. Lately, it's just been no sleep every 2-3 hours, getting up with the baby, making sure she's, not crying. And I've been trying to do as much bike stuff as possible, but it's definitely difficult to squeeze that in. But hopefully once I get back to a schedule, I want to start making, cooler videos. Hopefully I'm going to be getting my CYC mid drive in from CYC. I've been waiting on that motor for 9 months probably now. They've been having issues getting me a motor, but I want to do a build with that motor. I want to showcase that one off. I get asked about that motor all the time, so I'm excited to put that on a bike. I do want to build a bike with the new Bafang motor system. A lot of people are asking me about that. I haven't had time to build. I got the motors in stock. I just haven't had time to build them up and give you my thoughts on it. I do know from the outside, there's a lot of pros and cons with it. I like that it comes with the light kit and it looks like it comes with everything you need. I don't like that nobody has figured out how to hack into it yet to program it like you can with the BBS02 and BBS HDs. So I want to, kind of delve into that a little bit more. I'd like to make some more Cyclone videos. Obviously, a lot of people are having a lot of install issues with those things. So I'd like to make more comprehensive videos out there to just kind of show just hacks on how to make your life easier and less stressful. Because, if you guys are nerds, which if you're watching this, you're definitely a nerd. Custom making your own e-bike can be challenging, but it's also very rewarding, as you guys all know. So anything we could do to make it more rewarding, less challenging, let's try to tip the scales in our favor. I'd love to help you out. So, let me see. Grant, have you seen the CYC motor? I just touched on that. Sorry, I'm a slow reader. I'm a Chicago public school recipient. I feel like Lloyd Christmas from Dumb and Dumber right now when I'm reading. Okay. So this is a great question. Keith, you've got the BBS HD. You're running a 52 volt with the BBS HD. Are you worried about burning out the controller? I rarely see controller burnouts. Generally, there was a time where the controller on the BBS HD you couldn't run a 52 volt battery, because when a 52 volt battery was fully charged, it reads like 58.8. And the controllers have a thing in there called an under voltage and an over voltage protection, where it only operates if it's in a certain range of voltages. So as soon as you hit over like 58 volts or something, it would trip and it would lose its mind, and it would you couldn't use it. So there were some workarounds. You could either charge your 52 volt battery to like 80% or something, just never fully charge it, and then the motor would work fine, or the controller would. Or you could like re-flash it, reprogram it. It was kind of a pain. I've had to do that a few times with varying success, but I'm not like a computer programmer, but it just seemed like such a hassle. but that was a few years ago. I have yet to have any of the motors and controllers that I've gotten with the BBS HD or BBS O2 ever have any issues with the 52 volt batteries being fully charged or whatnot. It's only if you get one that's like, I think, old stock, which, there might be some floating around, but knock on wood, no, you shouldn't have any issues with a 52 volt battery with, the Bafang BBS O2 or BBS HD. I think that answers the question. Let me see what else we got here. Oh, but you could also program. I know a lot of people program it down. So the 52 volt BBS HDs are limited to 28 amps, and the 48 volt versions are limited to 30 amps. You could dial that down to, some people do 25 amps, and that'll make that motor last forever. If you limit it to only draw 25 amps, it's going to keep it cool. It's going to keep it running forever. I mean, there's people go the opposite way and they hot rod it to run 50 amps. And that's going to shorten its lifespan, obviously. But it just kind of shows that it can handle 50 amps, as long as you're running it somewhat carefully, it'll handle 50 amps. So if you put it down to 25 amps or even less, some people even do 18 amps, like with their BBS O2, the motor will last forever if you just dial it down. Is the Lunicycle BBS O2 better than most due to programming and upgraded MOSFET? No. So that's a great question. A lot of people, there's a lot of resellers, and I'm not saying that Lunicycle is dishonest at all. I mean, Lunicycle is the OG when it comes to buying and selling stuff. I think seems like they've gone away from selling stuff, and now they're just trying to sell their Surrons and their other stuff. But all motors are the same. For a while, people would say, I think they just need to update their website, but people say, oh, it's unlocked. All of them are unlocked. If they're not unlocked, it's because a reseller went in and locked it. They're all the same. They all have updated MOSFETs. The Bafang started using upgraded MOSFETs in like 2017 or something like that. They changed it. And I think since Lunicycle is one of the older companies, they said, hey, we've upgraded it to this, and then they've just never taken it down. Meanwhile, everybody's getting the same exact motor. So no, there is no difference between if you were to buy a BBS O2 motor from Lunicycle, from me, from Electrify, from Golden Motor, check with each one. I mean, there might be some that do water them down for, if you don't want to deal with like as much warranty stuff. Maybe some places are like, if I limit it to 18 amps, people aren't going to burn them out. There won't be as many issues. There might be some places out there doing it, but in general, no, they're all the same. It's kind of some funny advertising and maybe just some outdated advertising. It's kind of like how Bafang Direct USA, a lot of people will email me and they're like, hey, I just spoke with Bafang and they said, and I'm like, they're not Bafang. They're not associated with Bafang. It's misleading. So let me see. Except just to put a point, Lunicycle is nowhere near as intentionally misleading as the aforementioned company. Okay. Okay, you got a BBS HD, you got a 42 tooth, max speed is 25. Definitely, I would check your display, make sure that your max speed limit is not set to something other than 99 miles an hour. Then I would definitely get a, $15 program cable and take a look and make sure that your max amps are set to, at least 28 or whatever. 28 to 30, and then make sure that your speed limit is also set to there, and make sure your pedal assist levels are all set correctly. And there's on my website, if you go under the program cable, I have a link to the electric bike blog that has all the different program settings that I definitely recommend you guys, taking a look. If you guys have it, like, how do you program this? Which way? There's Carl. He's like a genius. he went through all the trouble and made a blog post on all the different settings you should do if you want various outcomes. Definitely take a look at what he did, because I mean, people are like, what would you do? I'm like, this guy already invented the wheel. I'm not going to reinvent it. But you could click on my under my program. If you go into my shop, go under find the program cable. I got a link to it. It'll take it to his blog. Okay. But yeah, your bike should be going faster than 25, unless you're like a really big dude, Paul. Then obviously that's going to affect speed, or if you're on a hill of any type, but you should be going faster than 25. No problemo. Yeah. Send a link where you got those brakes, Chris, if they're legit, and if they work well, keep us posted and let us know where you got them from. Some of those brakes, they have the inline brake cutoffs in them. Some of them they're varying of quality and functionality. So definitely, if you don't mind reporting back, and if you have good success with them, if you recommend them or not, help the community. What? Your e-bike got stolen? Ugh. Man, Charles, sorry, man. I got a video coming out. I have to edit it still. I've got a lot of videos that I just need to edit, that I just need to find time to edit, but it's on theft deterrence, or at least bike getting backing, if that makes sense. But keep an eye out for that. That'll be coming out soon. Why do e-bike batteries cost so much? It's a great question, because I've always thought that too. And there's such a wild range. You could get a cheap battery made by a inexperienced builder for cheap. You see a lot of them on Amazon for like, hey, it's a $350 battery. Because if you've ever seen my other video I did on counterfeit batteries, you open them up and they're really cheap batteries that may last you 6 months. They may not. They might last you a couple years, but it's risky. So they come down to the cell, and they come down to the manufacturing process. So like the batteries that you buy from Amazon that cost $300, they're probably using $2 cells, and they're made by somebody who maybe it's their part-time job, who comes into the factory in China. They're able to pay them really low wages. And so maybe the quality isn't quite there, but they're able to just crank them out real quick. I call those batteries house burners. I don't recommend buying them. Or you could buy from a known supplier that makes high quality packs only that use $5 cells. And when you got 70 in there, that adds up. Now all of a sudden you got $350 worth of batteries in there instead of $100 worth of batteries. But now you also got to pay a skilled worker who's going to take the time, make sure that the spot welds are good. They're testing the voltage of each battery before they go into the pack, and to make sure that they're not house burner packs. So for me, I'm like, I'll spend the extra $200 and not get a house burner. And I totally recommend you guys do it too. I know it's tempting to just go and buy the $325 pack off of Amazon by whatever seller it is, but I do not recommend it. There's plenty of horror stories. I talk to people all the time that tell me about it. There's comments on videos about it. I mean, it's kind of well documented. It's not worth it to save $200 to lose everything, in my opinion. And e-bike batteries are essentially potential bombs. I mean, if they're not handled correctly. So I don't know. It's not worth it. It's not worth the risk, and that's why they cost more. Got a door. No, we're good. I don't need a heater. I'm just gonna, as the snot just drips down my nose, I'll work with it. What's the next one? Riding bikes in the rain. That's a good point. Riding bikes in the rain. I made one about riding in the snow, which I think is kind of similar, but yeah, like I used to live in Portland, and I would commute 15 miles each way to the bike shop that I worked at. and all winter it rains, and I would still commute, and I would get made fun of a lot with the gear that I would wear. But you're right, there's a little bit more gear that you have to wear for rain than snow, but it is very similar. I still kind of dress like I'm going skiing, which I don't ski, so maybe that's why I look so ridiculous. But definitely goggles that don't fog up. And I had these ones that were called mock Schnells that were made by PDW, Portland Design Works. And for a while, they had them for $5, and I should have bought like a million of them. But this was before I was out on my own and like as a retailer or whatever. So I had no reason for 100 of them. But I just bought one, and they have little holes that are cut in there. They're like those old school aviator goggles when you had like a open air airplane. So there's little holes in there that let the air, so you don't fog up, which is really good for the rain, because when you're breathing and wear a balaclava. And so those like breathable goggles, and wear waterproof everything from head to toe, ride safe, ride slower, lights, put lights up. And actually that is a great topic, because I went through so many shoe coverings. Some of them worked good, some of them didn't. Some of them I would just get there, my feet were just soaking wet. I remember showing up to the bike shop and my feet were frozen and freezing. And I remember working on bikes barefoot in the middle of the winter at Nomad Cycles and just being like shivering, because it was like those stupid shoe coverings didn't work. So that's actually a great point. Hey, thanks, Nervous Gardens. Appreciate that. Am I accepting apprentices? I would love to accept apprentice. It's just, and I've had people even reach out to me. I've had people reach out and be like, "Hey, I'll come work for free, and just, can I shadow you and just help you build some bikes?" And it's like, yeah, on paper that's awesome. Except my schedule is so sporadic. As you guys know, I'm a one-man band. I do phone consultations, and I do like packing, ordering and stuff. And then I also do bike conversions. So between that, it's very hectic, and I'm very kind of all over the place. And now that I have a newborn baby, it's like all bets are off. I go and work when I can. So I would love to. I would love to get to the point where I could train some people, and even if you don't want to like work for me or with me, go off and do it on your own. Like this is going to be a huge thing. And I'm going to make a video on this too, but I'll give you a little heads up, because it's something I've been thinking about a lot. I keep seeing Google news reports on how e-bike sales are just booming and they're just exploding, and how e-bikes are going to be the next big thing. They're going to be I hope they are. I truly hope that we adopt e-bikes as transportation in the next 5 to 10 years as equals to cars. Like we have dedicated e-bike lanes. However that looks, that's where I hope they are. But we're going to need people to service them. We're going to need people that know what they're doing. And I don't think bike shops are not equipped to handle it right now. It's so weird. They're so behind the times. They're like the VHS manufacturers who are like refusing to get on board with the DVD and Blu-ray. I know I keep using those old references. Now we're on the cloud and everything. But okay, it's like that. It's like DVD manufacturers refusing to get on board with the cloud. It's like, yo, you got to get on board. E-bikes are not going away. They're only going to become more and more prevalent. So I think it's going to rely. I think initially it's going to rely on people like me who are just kind of doing it out of their backyards, essentially. And so I think there's a huge growth opportunity for people to maybe even just part-time start up their own e-bike repair business and e-bike build business. Because I think as people keep seeing that making your own e-bike, starting with a bike from scratch, a good e-bike or a good traditional bike, and then converting it as you see fit into an e-bike, that's the way to go. I mean, if you're passionate about it, that's the way to go. And I think a lot of people do, they ride their pre-made e-bikes or whatever. And there's nothing like necessarily bad about it. But I do think if you're like me, you will outgrow it within about a year to maybe 2 years. You'll outgrow it and you'll want more. You want the customizability. You want all that stuff. And we're going to need people to know how to repair it and how to refix it and how to troubleshoot stuff like that. And man, we're just so far behind on that. It's crazy how few people there are doing this type of stuff professionally. It's crazy. People are always like, "Oh, I'm in New York City. Do you know anybody here?" And I'm like, "Not really. I'm in Washington D.C. Do you know anybody here?" I'm like, "I don't know. Check my local conversions tab to see if there's anybody near you doing it, and you'll see it's pretty sparse." I don't know anybody in Florida that's doing this that could build a bike for you or repair it or anything like that. So if you're in Florida and you're like obsessed with e-bikes like I am, go apprentice at a bike shop near you. Just be like, "Hey, can I just work with your mechanics for 6 months or a year? Don't even pay me, or pay me $5 an hour or something ridiculous." Gain that skill set and go start your own business. Then once you know how to do it, go to college for 6 months, essentially at a bike shop, hang out with some really cool people, and go into business. Anyways, I don't know. What was the question? I just went off on a little tangent. Okay. I have a Lunicycle, no drill set for high long batteries. I have a Lunka cycle. I'm guessing you said Lunicycle, no drill set. Is it like a battery mounting thing? Because I just got some stuff from ebikes.ca from Grin Tech. I really like them. They make a lot of cool gadgets. And I got some things like that. I think that's what you're talking about. I also got some of the stuff from them too, where it's hose clamps with a threaded boss that you could literally put anywhere on your bike. And it's really cool. So if you're like, "Man, I want my battery here, or I don't have threaded bosses to drill into here," you could literally just get those things, hose clamp them on, and they're super tight. And then you can just cut off the excess of the hose clamp to make it not look so, janky. And there's, black heat shrink that goes around it. So you don't have like exposed steel digging into your paint and all that. I have a 52 volt on my BBS02 with 42 tooth. Should I run a 48 instead? I have both. Do you mean 48 tooth or 48 volt? Either way, it just kind of depends. I'll answer it like as if you were meaning 48 volt and 48 tooth. 48 tooth is really more for the kind of style of riding you're going to be doing. If you want to be pedaling and have your cadence at a higher, like say you want to be going 30 miles an hour and you want to be pedaling at your, 70 to 80 RPM or whatever, go with a 48 tooth. If you don't really plan on cruising at high speeds, stick with your 42 tooth. As for a 52 volt or a 48 volt, I always say you're going to get a little bit longer longevity and a little bit more reliability with a 48 volt battery versus a 52 volt. But the 52 volt battery will give you that little pop of power. It's like adding a mild turbo onto your car motor. If you're at all familiar with automotive stuff, it's like a low boost turbo on there. You might notice it if you were to go from a 48 to a 52. You might notice that little pop, but it's not a huge difference. And just to plug myself again, if you guys have any other questions that I'm not answering here and you want to get more in depth, I do 10-minute, 15, 20-minute consultations. If you have like questions about your build, if you're having trouble with your build, go to johnnynerdout.com. I do virtual troubleshooting. If you're trying to put together a build for your upcoming thing, you don't know where to go, you don't know where to start, you don't even have a bike, you're like, what bike should I get? Go on there. I guarantee I should be able to save you at least between $50 to $300. I bet I could save you on you just going off on your own, and I could probably save you a lot of calories and a lot of time, because the odds is that I've been through it, or I've done it, or I've built it, or I've stressed over the same things, and anyways, I could save you some time and money. And you can chat with me on the phone. Talking to you guys is the best. I really do think that the e-bike, I've always liked bikers. Like when I've done a couple like bike packing tours and you come across other bikers on it. They're just, I don't know. There's something about cyclists that they're just bikers, not necessarily cyclists, bikers of any kind. There's just something really cool about you guys. And if you're a biker and you've ridden them, maybe you know what I'm talking about. Okay. Anyways, I love talking to you guys. It's fun. I can't believe that, I do this for a living sometimes. I really don't. I don't know what brought me here, but it's awesome. Okay, let's see. It was confusing as a customer initially. Oh, yeah, you're talking about that. Yeah, I know. That's the thing too with like e-bike stuff. It's still the wild, wild west with information. Like it drives me nuts when I see bike manufacturers too, and they talk about their range and it's like 80-mile range. And I look at their battery specs and it's like 36 volt, 12 amp hour. I'm like, how are you getting an 80-mile? Is the battery off? Is that how you're getting 80-mile range? Yeah, there's nothing that's holding anybody accountable for any information out there. Like you can't say this or you can't say this, and you can't pretend that you're affiliated with this company, or you can't. There's just nothing. Anything goes. I could say anything, and there's no one to hold me accountable except the community, really. Oh man. 52 volt, 20. I think the 21700 cells, they're gonna be becoming more and more used. They're bigger cells though, so I don't know. I think as demand goes up for them, I think more e-bike batteries are going to be using those 21700 cells, especially in the higher. See, in the higher power, like when you have a motor that draws 3,000 watts or more, those 21700s handle that power way easier than an 18650. When you have like a 2 to 500 watt hub motor, it doesn't draw much power. If it's drawing like 18 amps, it's like overkill. It's really, you don't need those 21700s. So it's kind of like a weird area. That's why you're not really seeing those 21700s, because for a lot of bikes, it's just overkill. We're gonna call them, we zip up our jackets. I know I was gonna zip up my jacket and use my hood, but then my mother-in-law says that I look like the Grim Reaper. I don't know. It is warm in here though. Maybe I'll just do this. No, I'll do this. How's that? Yeah, market is definitely misleading. It's just one that so I made a video on a new light kit that Bronco bikes brought to my attention, and I see it's so weird because I have like 3 different versions of that light kit, but they all use like the JST JSM connectors and not the inline IT4 connectors, which it's been so annoying. I have so many light kits in my shop that are just kind of useless. I love this new light kit. I really like it. I really want to start using it. I made a video on it and I sold out like immediately. I got more on order, but they come from China and they're slow shipped. So yeah, you could probably get some from Bronco Bikes. They might have some in stock still. But yeah, I really like those ones. I got turn signals. It's got a brake light, tail light, and a super bright headlight and a horn. I mean, it's like a, I don't know. For me, it's like it has everything you want in it. Now all you need to do is just add a mirror. And it's like a full-on safety kit. I really like it. And I think the bike that I want to be designing with Sean is going to be using probably that exact light kit. I really like it. How do warranties work for Bafang motors if you buy from Amazon and get a broke motor? I've heard so many horror stories from people buying from Amazon. It's so weird because you're like, oh, Amazon, they've got the best return policy. Maybe for some things, but not for Bafang motor kits and not for custom e-bike motors and batteries. I've heard lots of horror stories, and yeah, good luck. Good luck. I know lots of people who are like, they come and buy my motor because they're like, I'm just stuck with this brick from Amazon and they won't return it. They won't even give me a return. I'm trying to fight with my credit card company now to try to get them reversed, and Amazon won't do anything. Neither will the seller. It's weird because you would think Amazon is their whole thing is like free and easy returns, but not with e-bike stuff for sure. So no, I wouldn't buy anything from Amazon. It's like that movie Tommy Boy. The product is only as good as, what is he with the brake pads? He's like, I'm not going to quote it. That's terrible. Anyways, good afternoon, Ricky. Good afternoon. Brand unit power. Unit pack power. If it's unit pack power, if it's the authentic ones, they're generally pretty good. I carry them sometimes as well. Like in a pinch, if I'm out of batteries, usually you could get, I buy from Recce, but make sure you're actually buying unit pack power batteries, because there's a lot of gray market that everyone just says they're unit pack power, but not all of them are. So just be careful with that too. I know about the YouTuber that had a UPP battery explode. Yeah, I mean, you got to care for your battery good. I always tell people, treat your battery like it's a baby. Maybe I should say it's like it's your dog. Whatever you're into, if you're not a dog person, maybe you're a baby person. If not, find something that you care about that's a living thing and treat it like that, because they don't like to be too cold. They don't like to be too hot. So don't leave it out in the winter to get really cold. Don't leave it out in the summer to get baking in the sun and get super hot. Don't leave it. I always say this, don't leave it too hot, too cold, too full, too empty for too long. Okay. So batteries like to keep it at like 60 degrees. Pretend it's like an old retired guy who's just like, he wants to be at like 60 to 70 degrees. It wants to be kept at about 50% charge, nice and relaxed. You don't want to be too drained and you don't want to be too amped up. That's not for too long. That's not good. You want to be at like 50% chill. Pretend like you want to keep your battery on vacation. Okay. Nice and comfortable temperature, nice, easygoing power level, energy level. Think about it like that. I gotta market something like that. It's a good way to put it. Good job, John. Okay, let's see. 52 volt top speed, 39 miles an hour. How fast 72 might be? If you're getting 39 out of a 52 volt, I'm going to guess 59, maybe even 60 miles an hour out of a 72 volt. 60 volt would be, in between there, probably like 48, 49, maybe 50. Do I hear 50? I feel like an auctioneer right now. Yeah, I'd say about probably 60 miles an hour. You must have a road bike. You probably hit 60 on a 72 and probably 50 on a 60 volt. Will 48 volt be enough for 230 pound man? Should I get 52 volt BBS motor also? 230. I mean, you're not like crazy big, so you don't need to. You could definitely go 48 volt BBS02. The biggest thing is the chain ring. Gear ratio is way more important than power. People always want like, I should do 52. I want to add power. I want to get the BBS HD over the BBS02. Yeah, but for me, more important is the gear ratio. It's that leverage. It's how much work is that motor doing. If you could get a BBS HD, but it's geared improperly, it's going to burn out way faster than a 750 watt motor geared properly would. It's just using that leverage. So more important than adding power is finding that correct gear ratio. So, all you got to do there is either take your front chain ring, make it smaller, and somehow make your rear bigger. So your low, if you have an 8-speed in the rear, you want to find your biggest cog or your low gear and somehow make that bigger and make this one smaller so that if they're a 1-to-1 gear ratio, you'll be good. So if you got a 36 in the front and a 36 tooth low gear, yeah, you'll be fine. You could do that with a 750 watt motor, even at 230 pounds. You'd be fine. Of course, it does. There's factors. I don't want to there's no black and white thing with anything with e-bikes. It's all case studies. This is why I do consultations, because I'd want to know, well, how fast do you ride? Are you a speed freak? Are there hills? Do you live, in Park City where you're going up and down hills all the time? Or do you live in Florida where you just want to leisurely go for rides? Those are the type of things that also factor into the equation. Either way, a 750 watt motor at 48 volts will be fine. You just need to find, you might need to tweak a couple of things. You might need to switch out your rear cassette to get, a better gear ratio for you, or switch out that front chainring, or both. And a rear cassette is like 30 or 40 bucks. So it's not expensive. And maybe it's a good thing to just get a new chain and a new rear cassette anyways. If you're going to be electrifying it, start fresh. It's like 50 bucks upgrade to just have a whole brand new drivetrain on your bike. So I do recommend doing that. Cover up wires on the bike for rain. Cover up controller box if it's a hub motor. BBS O2. BBS HDs and O2s are, I always say they're just short of waterproof. They're heavily water resistant. They'll work unless you dunk them in the lake. Rain, no problem. Just, if you're riding through sand and grease and grime and stuff, wipe it down. Try to keep it, if you're able to, try to dry it off with a towel when you get home from the ride. But like I said, man, I did 30 miles every day on that thing in the rain, sometimes pouring rain, an hour each way, just riding through the rain, getting rain kicked up on that motor, coming, get to work, and there's just sand and road grime all on that thing. And I still have that same exact motor, same BBS HD on my Benno. No issues. I'll get into it. I've never even re-greased my motor. I always tell people to do it, but this is one of those like do as I say, not as I do things. I keep meaning, I'm like, this winter I'm gonna re-grease my motor, but I still haven't done that. So, and that motor still works fine, and I do ride it pretty hard. Congrats on 30K. I actually didn't even hit 30K yet. I'm a big phony right now. I'm probably going to lose subscribers because of how phony I am. I think I'm at like 29.9. I thought I would hit 30 by today, but my math ain't so good these days. I broke my shoe covers. Sorry to hear about that. Still wear socks in the rain. Yeah, I guess, but then your feet are frozen. Yeah, I agree. Like legal speed is 20. Actually, legal speed, depending on where you are, should be, there is no legal speed. The legal speed is how much the motor can do on your own, because there's no speed limit for a bicycle. The speed limit is whatever the road speed is. You should be, if it's road speed is 20 miles an hour, yeah, you shouldn't be going, more than 25 on a bicycle. If you're on a 4-lane road and it's a 40 mile an hour, technically you should, but there's some people I know that can ride 40 miles an hour on their road bikes, and they get their aerodynamic helmet and their spandex. There's nothing wrong with going 40 miles an hour on a bicycle if it's all human powered. And it's the same thing with an e-bike. As long as the e-bike is not powering you past 28 miles an hour, and then anything after 28 is all you, that's legal. But that's where we get into the gray area, because as we all know, custom e-bikes, I show you, I could get it up to almost 40 miles an hour just on throttle on most bikes. So it kind of comes down to the end user being responsible, not ruining it for the rest of us who really want to continue using e-bikes and riding them. But yeah, no one's going to do anything. Even if you're doing like 30, unless you're being a jerk about it, then the cop might be like, all right, let me put it into drive and go pull this guy over, see what he's doing. But yeah, I think you're fine doing 25 miles an hour as long as you're riding fine. Bike shop will not even lace a hub. That's weird. Is it a legit bike shop? Maybe are they just like so slammed? I mean, lacing wheels is time consuming. Sadly, I had to lace many wheels in my day, but fortunately, I'm glad I did it, because I got to learn a good trade, and hopefully, I could still do it if I had to. But that's weird that they won't lace a wheel unless they're just slam packed. Unless it's a hub motor. If it's a hub motor, maybe they're like, oh no, we might get sued if you blah blah blah. I don't know what it is with bike shops and e-bikes, but they're on the wrong side of history. I'll tell you that. It's so weird. Charles, finding a good full suspension e-bike that will fit a battery, for sure, it is difficult. There's a few out there. I know, like the James Dakars I like using. There's the Cannondale Lefties. There's the Trek Fuel EX. I can't remember. There's a couple different levels. A lot of them depends too on the frame size. You get like a small, no, it's not going to fit. Medium, maybe. A large, you got a much better chance of fitting batteries in there. And I'm ordering. I ordered a whole bunch of slim 52 volt packs that they're meant to fit in those tight triangle spaces better. They're 52 volt, 14 amp hour, so they're the maximum capacity in a slim pack. So, I got the jumbo sharks and I got the slims, but they're on order. So if you do find one, you might want to look at getting the slim packs. Bike shop messed up your controller. That sucks. Bike shop prices in Michigan are through the roof. Through the roof. Sound like you're a dad from Chicago. You see my electricity bills through the roof. But yeah, bikes are expensive. I know, it's crazy. Cool. I look forward to talking to you. Spadoinkle. I'm in Florida, and I got my friend doing it for me. He knows bikes, electricity. Yeah, it's weird. Like doing e-bike conversions, you have to know bikes and electricity, electronics, like all that. It's weird. It's a weird blend. Because I know a lot of guys are like, hey, I've been riding my bike casually for like the last 30 years. I'm an electrical engineer, or I'm a tinkerer, I'm a mechanic. And it's like, that's the kind of blend that you need to be. That's like the perfect storm to be an e-bike nerd, to be like, I've just always enjoyed riding my bike. It always like brought joy to me. It always was like a stress reliever. And then I'm also just like, if you're mechanically inclined or you like tinkering with stuff and electronics a little bit, you're not afraid to solder stuff. Oh man, that's a perfect storm for this to just be your next obsession for the rest of your life, being custom made e-bikes. And you're the type of person that you should open up your own shop being an e-bike repairman, because you need that perfect blend of like someone who knows how to, do basic stuff on bikes, kind of knows the basics, but can also build and repair electronics. It is not afraid to get in there and, open up a battery case and like, oh, okay, the BMS is bad, and unsolder it and resolder stuff in. It's a fine line. I think that's why a lot of bike shops are nervous about doing that, because maybe they never seen a soldering iron in their life, and it's no fault to them. Like they know bikes, like they truly know bikes, but the whole other side of it, it's two skill sets that you need to have. And maybe that's why, but I think bike shops need to be hiring electrical guys to come in and do that stuff for them. Have the bike shop do the bike stuff, and then you have an electrical side to do the other parts. Yeah, I do a lot of upgrades, but not much on the brakes. I do brake adjustments when a bike comes in, and generally, so here's the thing. It kind of works itself out. My customers bring me their bikes that they've been riding, or maybe not been riding as much lately. But even if it has rim brakes, generally they're not speed freaks, and they're like, I'm not going to be going over 15 miles an hour. Then I'm not going to sell them on hydraulic disc brake upgrade if they're never going to use it. And they're like, I do always caution them. And I do say, hey, we're putting on, pretty powerful motor kit on here. You're going to need braking power. It's really important to make sure that you upkeep your brakes, keep an eye on your brake pads, making sure that they're always in alignment, making sure that they're always grabbing good. And upgrade as needed. But generally, the bike that they have it suits their needs as is. If it's an older bike that has rim brakes, it's because that person bought it like that and they're used to it, and it's not dangerous. The end of the game is it's not dangerous. If there's a dangerous thing, I always tell people I strongly recommend upgrading this, or don't ride fast, or I'm going to water it down to go slow. So a lot of times I will set the max speed to like 15 or 18 miles an hour, and that's maximum. So, but you're right. I mean, you definitely want your brakes set to match your power or your riding style. So if you're riding like in Portland or Seattle where it rains all the time, yeah, like do what I did. I upgraded to hydraulic disc brakes. I had mechanical disc brakes, but when I was riding it all the time and I was getting sick of it, like, and having to like grip on it, I upgraded to hydraulics, and it did make a pretty big difference. So definitely take note of what kind of riding you do and update as necessary. You want to build or buy an e-bike rather than buy a motorcycle. That's totally up to you. If you like riding bicycles, definitely do it. If you're not a bicyclist, you may find that it gets old quick. You might be like, I don't like sitting on the seat. I don't like blah, blah, blah. But it's definitely way cheaper. You're not going to pay a cent in gas. It's super cheap to fill up. It's maybe 3 or 4 cents, depending on your size of your battery pack to fill up. And a lot of times you can just fill up wherever you are. It's going to be cheaper if you build your own e-bike for sure. So yeah, I would say go with the e-bike because it's more environmentally friendly and it's going to get you exercising. It's going to be way cheaper. You don't need to do no licensing, no registering, no insurance, no gas, no oil, no repairs. I mean, bike stuff is cheap. Bike parts are cheap. A new chain is $12. A new derailleur is $30. And anything you break, it's super cheap. So that's why I'm like, yeah, get on an e-bike. If you're asking my opinion, get on an e-bike. And you burn some calories too. Get in better shape. You know, if you're not married, you'll find yourself a girlfriend, get married, all because of an e-bike. Let's see. I don't appreciate people who don't like the fact that I ride on the road. Yeah, most places it's illegal to ride on the sidewalk, by the way. Most places bikes are considered like cars, and you should be riding on the road. That's a great idea. Red Cardinal 3, make a page for people that have built. You know what I want to do? I want to take it one step further. I was watching a show over here at my in-laws' house called Ugliest House in America. And I was thinking, I was like, man, I want to make a show like this, but it'd be the coolest e-bike in America. And I would just travel around and like, if somebody's got an awesome e-bike, I would love to do a showcase on it and find the coolest e-bike in America. Because there's some people, man, some of you guys send me some stuff and I'm like, that's so ingenious. How you came up with that bracket or that mount for this Farkle that you put on, or you custom made a battery pack that molds into there and you made a custom, like there's some cool custom fabricators out there with their e-bikes, and it's inspiring. So I would love to do that. That's what I would love to do. 80 miles on 30 would be 5 hours. That means you're doing 12 minutes doing. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'm running 13 kilowatts. I get 1 mile per amp hour. 13 kilowatts? I have the light set. That's pretty sweet. I like that light set. What spacers do you suggest when installing a 68 millimeter? I would get, so I carry they're 2.5 inch or 2.5 millimeter bottom bracket spacers. I would get 4 or 5 of them. I charge $1 a piece for them. So that way, if you do need to like shim the motor over one way or another, so it doesn't either hit the chainstay or whatever, you have them. It's $4 and it won't hold up your install. Every bike is different. You never know. You might not need them at all, but man, I don't know. Luckily, I have a shop that I work out of. So if I need anything, it's right there. But if I was at home and I didn't have all the parts and tools, I would just spend the $4, get it. And okay, you don't use them, donate them. When we be in stock for the push button cutoff, It's probably going to be a little bit. I got to order some more of them, but I need to piggyback those. I can't just order just those. I got to piggyback them with some more motors. I get them from EM3, so I'll probably order some motors or batteries from them, and then I'll just throw some of those in to make it worth it, because the shipping from China is insane. So you got to place big orders. So I just need to wait for that. But yeah, funny. I don't know if I talked to you today or not, but somebody this morning was asking me about that. But yeah, you can check it out on EM3. They sell them there, but you're going to pay a crap load in shipping. So it might be insane. You might want to wait. AliExpress, it's the same. It's Alibaba. I mean, it's not so much the platform. All that is like Amazon. Oh, by the way, it looks like I'm at 55 minutes. I'm going to call this in about 5 minutes, guys. AliExpress is just like eBay. It doesn't matter. It's just a platform. You want to make sure you're buying from the individual seller is legitimate. All right, so I'm going to try to do quickly and just try to run through all these real quick, guys. I apologize. If you have more in-depth questions you want me to do, like you want to do a 20-minute consultation with just me and you, go to johnnynerdout.com, schedule it. Love talking about this stuff. Belt drive. I get asked a lot about belt drives. I haven't done one yet. No one's brought me a belt drive bike. I do have a video on belt drives, what to do instead. My own personal opinion. I like the single speed chains instead of that. I think they're 70% as strong, but 5% the cost. Best of luck, Doomhauer. T-Bone, not Tribe. T-Bone. Ooh, you've never seen a name brand. Oh, so a lot of times the name brand sells, they're not going to say like the Sony logo on it or something like that, or the Panasonic on there. There's weird coding on it, but you should still, Samsung, usually you can see Samsung on it, but you're probably buying it from the wrong place then. CYC or HD, BBS HD, really depends. If you need torque sensing, go with the CYC. But again, I'm still waiting to get my CYC in. CYC is super expensive. So, if you need massive power, go with that. But then again, you might also want to try the Cyclone, but I don't know. It's a great question. Thoughts on boosting my 21? You can't boost a battery 52 to 72. You can't boost a battery. You can boost a motor. Change the controller, boost the controller so that the controller will accept, so the motor will take it. What kind of cells does the UPP use? UPP is just the manufacturer. They use all different types of cells. Make sure you specify which cells are in them. UPP uses Chinese cells, and they also use Panasonic. They use LG. They use Samsung. 1-to-1 is hub motor gearing. What? Doesn't make sense. 116 link should be enough. Yeah, you probably have to take some out, actually. Hey, Michael, what's up, man? It's complete. Oh, man, you guys got to check out Michael. This guy's awesome. He built a one-man caravan. It's a camping trailer for a bicycle. You tow it behind your bike. I'm fortunate to live close enough to this guy. He's one of those guys who's a tinkerer, and he's also like a brilliant mind. He built a working prototype. I think it's working, right, Michael? I don't know. You can't hear me, I can't hear you. But it's a camping trailer. So you tow it behind your bicycle, and it like unfolds out, so you could camp in it. So yeah, I told him, man, I want to be your seller. I'll sell them for you. These things are awesome. I love. Anyways, good on you, Michael. Hopefully it's going good. 44 tooth on front and 13 34 range cassette. It's okay for hill climbing. Yeah, 44 and 34. Okay is relative. It all depends on how steep the hills are and what kind of bike and how big you are. But yeah, in general, 44 to 34, that's pretty good. That's a decent rate. That's getting close to 1-to-1. 1-to-1 is like crazy hill climbing. That's really good hill climbing. Titanium silicone. Right, that's good. I pedal at 55 miles an hour. Yeah, right. You're crazy. Prove it. Picture it didn't happen. DIY is still 50% cheaper. Yeah. Congratulations, Axum. Oh, the Schwinn Axum is a single speed 8-speed cassette. Single 8-speed cassette. What are your thoughts? A single 8-speed cassette. I'm not sure the question there, but I've done a Schwinn Axum and it works fine. So you should be fine. You're an e-bike nerd. If you're watching this, you're an e-bike nerd. If you watched more than 2 minutes and didn't like click off, you're an e-bike nerd. Yeah, too smart. You've got the bug. You're going to be a future e-bike mechanic professionally, I bet. Yeah, e-hubs with wires pulled out. I don't recommend the new 625 over the older version just yet. I need to do more testing on it, but so far, until somebody figures out how to hack it, probably not, but it might be for you. I don't know. Everyone needs to be helming it. Yep. Okay, let me see. Mid-drive and a hub. It's a waste of energy. It's not efficient. Hey, Michael Nauer. I'm probably butchering your last name. Awesome, man. Glad you finally got your bike dialed in. Sounds like you got the bug too. Yeah, I know. I need to make a re-grease video. It will be coming soon. When I actually get around to doing my re-greasing, I'll show you. I bought the grease and everything. It's all ready to go. I think I've had it for about a year and a half because I'm like, I'm going to do this. Okay, I'm about to wrap it up, guys. I see there's a lot more questions, comments. I think I'm just going to run out of time, though. I could do this all day, but the power bill would just be through the roof if I kept doing this. But I hope to do this more often. I would love to do this like once a week or whatnot, but I don't know how feasible that is, and that might be, too taxing. I don't know if anybody would actually want to do that. I think doing it like once every couple months is kind of cool. Keeps it special, Okay. All right, guys. Thank you again. If you have any questions about this or more questions and you want to get personal, go to johnnynerdout.com. Let's do a consultation. I'll talk with you. I'll build out your bike for you. I'll send you out a thing that shows you everything that you need for your bike. It's fun for me. It's fun for you. And, I don't know. I guess that's it. All right, guys. Appreciate it. Love you guys. Take it easy.